Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. And it's been quite some time since I posted a video on here. In fact, the last time I posted was when we were previewing Wild Card Weekend together. And we all know what happened. And we'll talk about that in today's video. But before I get into that, I want to thank everybody for their love, support, and patience as I've been gone for the month that I have been. As you know, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and it was really hard to sit down and talk about all of the things that were happening in Cowboy Land because I couldn't even think straight to really give you a coherent opinion. And I know what's been going on, as you're probably aware now on Twitter. I've been getting active talking about the team again, and I'm finally back in the mental space to record videos, talk to you guys over here, and have some fun talking about this team, even though it's kind of hard to do that. But we're here. Thank you guys so much. As you know, I'm changing a couple things around here cosmetically and also with how the channel's being run in the sense of what's available and all that other stuff. So you're going to start seeing that, and I'll go over details and community posts and stuff like that. But here we are. The 2023 season has been well over for the Cowboys, and Super Bowl 58 is set to be hosting the Chiefs and the 49ers. Great, right? Another Super Bowl where the Cowboys aren't in it, but you know what? It is what it is. And we need to look at what happened throughout the 2023 season for the Cowboys overall. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to take a single game and make that define an entire season. That would not be objective of me. That wouldn't be fair. And look, I'm not condoning what happened in the playoff game. I'm not saying the regular season matters more than the playoffs do. I'm not saying any of that. But there's a reason you got into the position you were in the playoffs. Because of what you did in the regular season. And we'll talk about the failure that happened at home in the playoff game that they had. But all I'm saying is we have to look at the body of work. We just can't look at one game and say, yep, that's the 2023 Dallas Cowboys. Okay, that's it. You know, if you want to disagree with me, that's okay. You know, we all have differing opinions here, and I know Cowboys Nation is in a frenzy with all the crap that's been going on. So let's talk about this 2023 season. So to start things off, the Cowboys finished 12-5 for the third straight year in a row. And to look at this a little bit deeper, the Dallas Cowboys have not done this since their 90s run. And also, in the last 3 seasons for the entire NFL, they have been second most with wins. And they're right behind the Chiefs, who have one more win than them. So the Cowboys over the past couple of seasons have developed some form of consistency in the regular season. But how did they go 12-5 this particular time around? Well, it starts off on the offensive side of the ball with your quarterback having his most efficient season of his career given with what happened last year, making it look like an outlier. Dak Prescott led the league in touchdown passes, and it had to do a lot with Mike McCarthy and the changes he made on the offensive side of the ball. As you know, Kellen Moore went off to the Chargers before now he's in Philly, which is absolutely hilarious that he's back here in the NFC East, but it is what it is. They made the change at offensive coordinator. Things did not look good early on for this offense, but after that San Francisco game that they had, where they looked like they hit rock bottom, they really managed to turn things around. They were able to get this offense going. Dak Prescott started playing at an extremely high level to the point where he was sitting out a large chunk of these fourth quarters. And more importantly, when games were close, he was able to do enough to get the team to win or put them in the position to win. In terms of the statistics and overall quality metrics, the Cowboys were top 5 or even first in all of them. You know, they were the highest scoring offense this year, as well as in terms of yardage, 5th overall. It was just unbelievable what they were able to do in terms of quality metrics, which they were top 5, top 3, or even first in. So hats off to Mike McCarthy, and also seeing some of these players assist in making this offense with what it was in the regular season. Brandon Cooks coming into his own late, Jake Ferguson becoming a quality tight end in this league and really turning heads to many thinking, yo, is this dude like a top 10, top 5 tight end in the league? Just saying, there have been those conversations. The offensive line, you saw Tyler Smith do very damn well for himself. You had struggles with Tyler Biadasz as well as Terrence Steele, and you then saw Tyron Smith have one of the healthier seasons of his career given the circumstances of where he's at. But I really liked what the Cowboys did offensively this year. I had really minimal complaints aside from maybe a couple games and how they managed running the ball and, a couple hiccups here and there. And I can go into the intricate details of those, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. But overall, I was pleased with what the offense did. And I got to save the best for last. CeeDee Lamb breaking Michael Irvin's record for most receptions and most yardage in a season. In fact, he did it in 16 games. He even didn't need the 17th game. So, hats off to CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott in that combination. And, just seeing him turn into a top 3 wideout in this league was holy shit. Like, this man went on a tear at the end of the year. So, that's really great, all things considered. You want to see these things. And then when you move over to the defensive side of the ball, they were top 5 in those metrics and things of that nature, but there were hiccups that happened, which were very, very glaring. Not getting off the field in 3rd and long situations. Yes, you had DaRon Bland break the record for most pick sixes in a season and led the league in interceptions. You had Micah Parsons have a career year with 14 sacks and also, not getting any holding calls. But, with Trevon Diggs going down with an ACL tear, you had Stephon Gilmore step up. And, the one thing that really hurt on this defense was safety play was down. I felt like the linebacking core for this team was not as good as it should have been. And I'm talking about like pure linebacker. You lose LVE and you don't have DeMarvion Overshown. You don't really put a lot of resources into the position when you should have. And here you are. In fact, while it wasn't the very big reason that you're not playing in February or even further in January, it didn't help. But the one thing that hurt the defense, or rather hurt the team, more specifically, the one thing that hurt the team the most was the defense going on a slide to end the year. In terms of everything that you can look at with the defense, from stats, film, you name it, they just fell off. Like, we're talking about, like, they were dead last or near bottom of the barrel when it comes to those metrics and with what film showed. And that didn't bode well because that kind of oozed into the playoff game. And, look, congrats to some of these dudes and how they did things defensively. And also, now moving over to the special teams, shout out to Brandon Aubrey, man. He had one goddamn year, if I do say so myself. It took until the final game for him to miss some stuff. And look, you're not going to be perfect. I'm telling you, like, no one's perfect, but I mean, hey, he kicked field goals when we needed to kick some field goals, God damn it, and that's all I can ask for. And also shout out to Brian Anger for being a solid punter. And then Kevontae Turpin, very hit or miss, but no, kick returns yet in his career, but it's okay. So now that we talked about the regular season, now everyone's wanting to hear my opinion on the postseason, which simply, that was a damn disgrace. It's like, dude, I get it. Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions, which then led to 14 points. But even if you take the 14 points back, right, out of the 48 that were scored, that's 34 points by this defense. I mean, like, if you even want to, like, be technical and talk about how, like, you take just the pick 6 out of it, I mean, like a 40 burger on you as a defense, which touts themselves as elite and all this other shit. And what boggles my mind is that when I went back and watched the game, the Cowboys had no chance to come back in that game, even if the offense played flawlessly. you look at what happens. So you get down 14 points, and you can't really do much. You get down 20 points, and then it leads to a pick six, and now you're down like 27-0. You manage to score a touchdown at the end of the half where you get the ball at half, and you could have made it a game. They drive down, they get a field goal, now they're down 17. Cool. But then the Packers go down and score a touchdown. So then you go down the field and you score a touchdown. But then you have the whole debacle with the extra point and the 2-point conversion. But then they go score another touchdown. Like, there was no way the Cowboys were winning that game. And we had the one game this year against the Seahawks where literally Dak Prescott had to play perfectly in order for this Cowboys team to win. And did Dak have the best game in the play? Oh, no. By no means. I mean, in that first half, he did not play well. But was he the sole reason the Cowboys lost that game? Absolutely not. In fact, when we look at the playoff games in the Mike McCarthy era, the defense really dropped the ball here. A lot of people want to get on Dak for the two 49er playoff games, which those defenses are tough, and he has a hard time against those defenses, but we're not going to talk about how the defense gave the offense no opportunity to breathe. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here? And what's hilarious to me is that after that game happened, to me, I don't really care what happens. Like, hey, if they want to fire Mike McCarthy, it is what it is. But, I mean, dude, I've never seen a playoff game as embarrassing as the Cowboys were able to do. I mean, like, while you finished 12-5 and you were given 2 home playoff games because the Eagles had an all-time collapse, which you took advantage of, and that's something that no one wants to talk about either. The Cowboys were in a position, I vividly remember people were talking about, okay, maybe the NFC East is not going to be won by the Cowboys. And they were gifted an opportunity because the Eagles granted the Cowboys that opportunity. And to me, they did everything right they were supposed to do in the regular season. You win the division, you get home playoff games, which you were undefeated at home over the past 2 seasons, and you just wet the bed in the worst imaginable way possible. It's a Cowboy tradition, right? But that's something that I want to just hone in on, is that in the regular season, you want to position yourself the best way possible to win a championship. And they did that, and I'm not going to take that away from the team. What they do need to be scrutinized for is how defensively they wet the bed. Offensively, you didn't do yourself any favors. And to me, if you're in a situation in a game where you have to play perfect in order to win, that's not a recipe for success. And when I say that, and that's why I didn't really want to put something out there aside from what was going on, and even on Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it now, because if we were to have this conversation right after the season was over, I know that no one would want to hear what I had to say, and I'm pretty sure no one wants to hear what I have to say, and that's okay. Hey, we can all have opinions. But all I just want to do is tell you guys that shit happens. It is what it is. Just time to move on. The Cowboys were one and done for the first time ever. A 2nd seed lost to a 7th seed. And of course it had to be the Cowboys of all fucking teams. But I'm over it. After the game was over, I was over it. And I know that everyone's in their feelings with this team. And to me, now we see what they do. You're closer to a championship than you are fully rebuilding, right? And if the Cowboys want to go into an all-in year in 2024, that's up to them. I personally think that at some point you have to look at what caused the demise of this team. And I think personally it was that you didn't address the linebacker position when you should have. when you were going down people at that position. Defensively, you had your worst performance ever. Like, I can't even put into words what that was the most embarrassing playoff game that the Cowboys. That was more embarrassing than the 2007 playoff game. Or I would argue it's even more embarrassing than the 2009 playoff game when they went into goddamn Minnesota and got blown out. Like, this was a prime position for the Cowboys to go on a run to, at minimum, the NFC title game, and they blew it. You know, I don't know what would have happened at that point, but I mean, look, Detroit got to a conference title game before you did. And I know the standard here is championships. And to be real with you guys, and no one talks about this, like, if the Cowboys made it to the NFC title game and lost in the fashion that the Lions did, do you really think people would give a shit? Like, oh, we made it to the NFC title game at least. No, dude, we would be hearing all these people bitch and complain. But with that, we're going to close this chapter on Cowboys football with the 2023 season. It's over. What has happened has happened. There are things that this team needs to do to get in position for 2024. I'm not going to go out there and say what they should do in the free agent market. You're not going to get any of those videos or even trades. We're going to react as they come. Also, there will still be mock drafts. I enjoy doing those. And I just think that it really is going to depend now what happens moving forward in this free agency. Last year, the Cowboys were willing to make some maneuvers to add pieces. Will they do the same this offseason? If they don't, it's going to be hard to see this team go 12-5 via number one, but number two, see a deeper run into the postseason. So, that's it, guys. Tell me what you guys think down below. It was a bit long-winded, but it has been a bit, so I feel like I owe you guys some time there, and that's okay. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell as well. Help out with the algorithm, because I know that I doubt that this is going to get a whole lot of views if, I'm just coming back. But I will see you guys in the next video, which should be talking about Mike Zimmer coming to the Cowboys, and then all that other stuff. So, alrighty, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.